Hi, I'm Laura. Today I'm looking at the difference between the past simple and the present perfect. I'm going to focus on the form and the use of the past simple and the present perfect. And I'm also going to focus on pronunciation. Finally, I'm going to show you 2 mini dialogues contrasting the past simple and the present perfect. First of all, look at these sentences. I have been to Paris. I've been to Paris. I went to Paris. I'm going to focus on the first sentence here. I went to Paris, which is in the past simple. First of all, the form of the past simple. Went is an irregular verb. There is no rule for irregular verbs, you just have to remember them. Regular verbs in the past simple instead add ed or d to the end of the verb. So, for example, walked or loved. The easy thing about the past simple is that the verb form doesn't change. So, for example, I went to Paris, he went to Paris, they went to Paris. Now let's concentrate on the use of the past simple. We use the past simple to separate the past from the present. We use the past simple to express a finished action. There is no connection with the present. There is sometimes a time reference. So, for example, I went to Paris last summer. Last summer is a time reference. Now, let's look at this timeline. I went to Paris last month. Last month I went to Paris. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions. Is the answer yes or no? So, I went to Paris last month. Is the action in the past? Yes. Is the action finished? Yes. Is there any connection with the present? No. Do we know when the action happened? Yes. Now, I want to focus on pronunciation. I went to Paris last month. But in normal speech, this becomes I went to Paris last month. I went to Paris last month. Can you hear the final T of went and last? Listen again. I went to Paris last month. No. This is called an elision, and this happens when you leave out a sound. When T comes at the end of a word and it's between two consonants, you leave out the sound. So, went, T is between N and T. Last is between S and M. Repeat after me. I went to Paris last month. Now, let's look at the present perfect. I have been to Paris. Form: subject plus have plus past participle. In normal speech, we use the contraction I've been to Paris. So have becomes I've. Been is the past participle of the verb be, which is irregular. Remember though to use the correct form of have. So, for example, he has been to Paris becomes he's been to Paris. Now let's focus on the use of the present perfect. We use the present perfect to connect an action that happened in the past to the present, but there is no specific time reference. So we don't know when the action happened. Look at this example with a timeline. I've been to Paris. So now, from the past and the connection to now. In this example, the present perfect is expressing an experience in a person's life. So, I'm going to ask you some questions. Is the answer yes or no? Did I go to Paris at some time in my life? Yes. Do we know when I went to Paris? No. Is this experience still important for me in the present? Yes, because I want to tell you about it now. Now, let's focus on the pronunciation. I have been to Paris. Been has a long sound, E. But in connected speech, this becomes I've been to Paris. So the long E of been becomes been. Repeat after me. I've been to Paris. Finally, I'd like you to focus on 2 mini dialogues. Look at this dialogue in the past simple. I went to Paris last year. Did you have fun? Oh yes, it was great. In this example, the past simple expresses a finished action in the past, with no connection to the present. Now look at this dialogue. Have you been to Paris? Yes, I've been to Paris. When did you go? I went last year. In the present perfect, we don't know when the action happened until the question, when did you go? In the past simple, the answer is last year. Thank you for watching, and please ask any questions in the comments below.